Our topic for today's video is solving quadratic equations by factoring. So I have steps here, so you will be guided during our lesson or during answering. So first step is change the equation to standard form. The second one is factor the left side of the equation. Third one is equate each factor to 0. Fourth one is solve the equation in step 3. And then the last one is check by substitution. So let's recall what is the standard form of a quadratic equation. So let's note that the standard form of a quadratic equation is a x squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. So it is very important to write or to rewrite our equation first in the standard form before solving, because it's make your life easier. So let's have the example. We're going to apply the steps here in our first example. So the example is x squared minus 7x is equals to 0. So as you can see, it was already written in our standard form. The difference is the ax squared is present, the bx is present, but there is no c or the constant. The most important thing in quadratic equation is our x squared. Okay lang mawala si bx at si c, basta hindi mawala si x squared, kasi nga the definition of a quadratic equation, it has the highest degree of 2. Okay? So let's have this one. Sabi, change to standard form. Our equation is already in standard form. So let's go to step 2, which is factor the left side of the equation. So this is our left side of the equation, the left side of our equal sign. So how are you going to factor this one? So we have different factoring method. We have factoring using the greatest common monomial factor, the sum and difference of two cubes, difference of two squares. But in this case, as you can see, the only applicable factoring method is the GCMF, or the greatest common monomial factor. So what is the GCF of these two? The only variable or coefficient that is present to both terms is the x. So therefore, the GCF of our equation is x. Okay? So dividing both terms by the GCF or the GCMF x squared divided by x is x. Negative 7x divided by x is negative 7. So let's put the equals to 0, the original given. So therefore, the x times x minus 7 is the factored form of x squared minus 7x is equals to 0. We're done with the second step. Let's go to the third step. Equate each factor to 0. What is our first factor? Our first factor is x. Okay? Our second factor is the x minus 7. According to step number 3, equate each factor to 0. So let's get the first factor, x. And then equate it to 0, meaning put equal sign and then 0. The second factor is the x minus 7. Let's get the x minus 7 and of course equate it also to 0. We're done with third step. Let's have the fourth step. Solve the equation in step 3. Solving equation meaning transposing or using the addition property, or making sure na dapat all the numbers or letters, especially letters on the left side or right side, is just x. Ulitin ko, dapat x lang yung matitira maalin sa left or right side ng equation. As you can see here, x equals to 0. There is nothing to evaluate more. Wala na tayong dapat isolve. So therefore, one of the factors or one of the roots of x squared minus 7x is equals to 0 is simply x is equals to 0. Another thing, this one, x minus 7 is equal to 0. So using the addition property of equality or the APE or the transposal, okay, the negative 7 will be transferred on the other side of equal sign. So x equals, in transposal or APE, you need to change the sign. So from negative 7, it will become positive 7. Okay? Bakit po natin kailangan gawin yon? Because we want x only. Okay? Since x lang yung hinahanap natin, so dapat x lang yung matitira, maalin po sa left or right side of our equation. Therefore, the roots of our equation is x is equals to 0 and x is equals to 7. And of course, to verify if our answer is correct, let's check using substitution. So, let x is equals to 0. Get the original given, x squared minus 7x is equals to 0. So it must be equal to 0. Substitute the 0 to x, it becomes 0 squared minus 7 times 0 is equals to 0. 0 squared is 0. Negative 7 times 0 is still 0, equals to 0. 0 minus 0 is 0, equals to 0. Is 0 equals to 0? Yes. So therefore, our first root is correct. So let's check the x is equals to 7. So let x is equals to 7. Get the original equation. X squared minus 7x is equals to 0. Substitute the 7. 7 squared minus 7 times 7 is equals to 0. What is 7 squared? 49. Negative 7 times 7, negative 49, equals to 0. What is 49 minus 49? 0. Is 0 equal to 0? Yes. So therefore, our value or our roots, which is x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 7, is true or correct to our equation x squared minus 7x is equals to 0. Understood? Okay, so let's have another example. Our next example is x squared minus 2 is equals to x. As you can see, our given is not yet written in standard form, so we're going to rewrite it to our standard form. As you can see, the x here will be transposed on the other side of equal sign to make it ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. So using the additional property of equality, it will become x squared. I-arrange na po natin siya. So I will write x first before the negative 2. From positive x, it will become negative x using the addition property of equality. And then the negative 2, since wala nang other variables on the side, and using the addition property of equality, it will become 0. So our equation is x squared minus x minus 2 is equals to 0. We're done with the first step, change to standard form. Let's go to the factor the left side of the equation. So, what kind of factoring method we're going to use in this equation? So, the GCMF is not applicable because there is no other variable or coefficient exists or present in 3 terms. So, as you can see, the only factoring method we can use here is factoring quadratic trinomial. So, I will teach you my method kung paano ko siya fina-factor. Okay? So, kapag walang value ng a greater than 1, for example, it's just x squared, meaning the imaginary coefficient here is 1. If this is the condition, the only coefficient of x squared is just 1. So, punta tayo dun sa c. What is the c? Negative 2. So, you can create a box or a table where the first step, going to find the factor of negative 2 and the sum. Meaning, if you add the two factors, okay, of negative 2, the answer must be the middle or the b. Ano ba yung b natin? Since there is no visible coefficient, the imaginary coefficient of x is negative 1. Ulitin ko, ang gagawin natin, we're going to find the factor of negative 2, which is our c, and then the sum must be our b, which is the negative 1. So, ano ba yung factor ng negative 2? Since this is negative, one factor is positive, one factor is negative. So, let's try first the 2, positive 2 times negative 1. So, 2 times negative 1 is 2, negative 2, and then 2 plus negative 1 is positive 1. Positive 1 is not true in negative 1, so we need to look for another factor. Let's try the negative 2 times positive 1. Negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus positive 1 is negative 1. So, this is our correct factor because the sum is the same as our B. So, ano pong gagawin natin yon? Since we're going to factor, so, I'll just erase this one. The factor of x squared minus x minus 2, since the variable used is x, so you need to just put two parentheses. So one factor is x, get the negative 2, and then x, get the sign positive 1 is equals to 0. Okay? Again, the factor of x squared minus x minus 2 is equals to 0 is simply x minus 2 times x plus 1 equals to 0. Okay? If you have doubt dun sa factor nyo, kung nalilito kayo sa sign, you can check this first using, or you can multiply these two factors using the FOIL method. Okay? So, next, we're done with factor the left side of the equation. Let's go to the third step, which is equate each factor to 0. So, the first factor is x minus 2, equate it to 0. And then the second factor is x plus 1, equate it to 0. We're done with equating to 0. Let's solve the equation in step 3, using again the addition property of equality, or we call it the transposal. So, x is equals to, from negative 2, it will become positive 2. Again, if you're going to move one variable or one coefficient or one number from another side of equal sign, you need to change the sign. Okay? So, it's from negative to positive 2. So, one root or one value of x in our equation is 2. Next one, x is equals to, from positive 1, it will become negative 1. So, we're done with solving. Let's check if our values of x or roots are correct. So, let x is equals to 2, and then let x is equals to negative 1. Get the original equation. X squared minus 2 is equals to x. In this case, since this one is not written in standard form, you can use this one in checking. But it will have the same answer if you use the original equation. So in first checking, let's use the original equation. In the second checking, let's use the standard form of our given equation. Okay? So, x squared minus 2 is equals x. So, substitute the 2 to all x. 2 squared minus 2 is equals to 2, since our x is 2. 2 squared is 4. Minus 2 is equals to 2. 4 minus 2 is 2 is equals to 2. Is 2 equals to 2? Yes. So, therefore, our values of x is correct. Now, let's try. Okay? Let's try the standard form of our given equation. So, x squared minus x minus 2 is equals to 0. Substitute the negative 1. This is the most crucial part. If our values of x is negative, normalize to use parentheses in every substitution. So, x squared, in here, with kahit hindi tayo gumamit ng parentheses, because positive 2 squared, it's still 4. With or without the parentheses. But in negative 1, we need to put a parenthesis para po ma-square din natin yung negative. Because negative 1 square is not equal to negative 1 square with parentheses. If you have doubt, you can check it using your calculator, because this one, negative 1 square without a parenthesis will equal to negative 1, and the negative 1 square with parenthesis will equal to positive 1. So, they are not equal. So every time you substitute using a negative values of x, put parentheses, okay? And then negative x is negative 1. So again, put parentheses. Bakit po? The negative here is like an operation of the x, okay? But since your x is also negative, so magkaiba po sila. The negative here is for the 1 and then the negative here is for the values of x, okay? Minus 2 is equals to 0. Negative 1 square with a parenthesis is positive 1, okay? And then negative times a negative is positive 1. Minus 2 is equals to 0. 1 plus 1, 2. Minus 2 is equals to 0. 2 minus 2, 0 is equals to 0. Is 0 equals to 0? Check. So therefore, our values of x, which is 2 and negative 1, is correct or true to our given equation, x squared minus 2 is equals to x. Okay, our next example is 3x squared plus 5x plus 2 is equals to 0. So, let's check if it's already written in standard form. As you can see, it has the same format, our standard form. So therefore, we're done with step 1. Step 2, factor the left side of the equation. So, dito madaming nalilito pag may value na ng a. A here is greater than 1 na. So, what kind of factoring method ang gagamitin natin? Factoring by grouping na tinatawag. I will also show you how to factor if our a or if the value of a is greater than 1. Okay? So, gawa ulit tayo ng table kanina. Dun sa table, first you need to find the AC. Ano yung AC? Okay? Ang A natin ay 3, our C is 2. Basing on our standard form. Okay? So, pag AC, meaning the operation between them is multiplication. O, tatandaan nyo, every time two letters written beside each other, the operation between them is multiplication. So, our A is 3, multiplied by C na 2. So, therefore, our AC is 6. So, gawin ulit natin yung ginawa natin kanina. Find the factor of 6, okay? That the sum is the middle again, the B. The B here is 5. So since our, this is also a technique, since we're looking for the factor of positive number, so dalawa lang yan. Both numbers are positive, both numbers are negative. Pero, as you can see, the sum is positive. Automatically, both number are positive. O, disregard na muna natin yung mga negative factor. So, ano ba yung factor ng 6? Let's start with 6 times 1. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So, hindi siya yung tamang factor. Ano pa ba? 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So, we're going to use the 2 and 3 as our factor. Understood? Pero, hindi siya yung same process nung kanina. Since we are going to use a factoring by grouping, ano po, yung 2 and 3, we're going to express it as a sum of our B. Anong gagawin? First, copy the 3x squared. If limot na, actually this topic is from grade 8, ano po, the factoring by grouping. Nai-apply lang natin ngayong grade 9, which is solving quadratic equations by factoring. So, if limot nyo na, browse, try to read or try to browse or try to watch again or try to recall, re-study again kasi it's very important na dun pa lang sa factoring or the second step, marunong ka na. Okay? So, again, let's copy the first term, 3x squared, and then copy this one or express the 2 and 3 as sum of our B. Ipapartner ko si 3 kay 3x squared. Again, kung hindi natanda si factoring by grouping, mas mabuti na aralin muna para mas magets itong solution ko. Partner 3 by 3x squared, so 3. You need to put the x, okay? And then, plus, copy the 2, again, put x, plus, the last term which is the 2 is equals to 0. Nabago ba Yung given natin, hindi. We express 5x as the sum 3x and 2x. Okay? So, next one, kaya siya tinawag na grouping, you're going to group them with two parts. So as you can see, the first group is 3x squared plus 3x, and then the second group is 2x plus 2. Now, factor, okay, factor this one. Ano yung GCMF ng 3x squared plus 3x? As you can see, the common, the GCMF, the common term is 3. And then, in terms of variable, it is x. Okay? So, the GCMF of 3x squared plus 3x is 3x. Let's divide. 3x squared divided by 3x is simply x. Next one is 3x divided by 3x is positive 1. Next, what is the GSMF of 2x and 2? Of course, positive 2. And then, 2x divided by 2x. 2 divided by 2, positive 1 is equals to 0. As you can see, may common factor sila na x plus 1. So, ang ginagawa dyan, get them as 1, x plus 1, times, you combine the GCMF. What is the GCMF? 3x plus 2 is equals to 0. Therefore, the factor of 3x squared plus 5x plus 2 is equals to 0 is simply x plus 1 times 3x plus 2 equals to 0. Understood? So, we're done by factoring the left side of the equation. Let's now proceed to equate each factor to 0. So, kunin mo natin first factor. X plus 1 is equals to 0. 3x plus 2, equate them also to 0. And then, solve the equation in step 3. So, x plus 1, x is equals to, since positive 1, transpose on the other side using the ATE. So, it becomes negative 1. So, our first value of x is negative 1. Next one, 3x is equals to, from positive 2, it becomes negative 2. Now, are we done with 3x is equals to negative 2? No. Bakit? We're not looking for the value of 3x. We're just looking for the value of x. How are you going to cancel the 3? Divide both sides by the coefficient together with x. Ano yun? Which is 3. Okay? Bakit po you need to divide also the other side? Because we're dealing with equal sign. Okay? Kung tayong dalawa ay equal, binigyan ka ng 5k, dapat meron din akong 5k. Ano po? So, same thing yon. Kung dinivide mo siya, yung other side, the left side of the equal sign, the left side of the equation by 3, you need to divide also the right side of the equal sign by 3. So, 3x divided by 3 is simply x is equals to negative 2/3. So, the value of x, okay, is x is equals to negative 1 times x is equals to negative 2/3. Let's check if our values of x is correct. Let's copy the original given. So, 3x squared plus 5x plus 2 is equals to 0. Since our values of a value of x is negative, so let's normalize using a parenthesis, okay? So, 3 times negative 1 squared plus 5 times negative 1 plus 2 is equals to 0. Alin ang una natin isosolve? Is it negative 1 times 3 or negative 1 squared? Using the PEMDAS, parenthesis, exponent first before multiplication. So, let's find the square of negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1 before we multiply it by 3. Positive 5 times negative 1 is negative 5 plus 2 is equals to 0. 3 times 1, 3 minus 5 plus 2 is equals to 0. 3 minus 5 is negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Is 0 equals to 0? Yes. So therefore, our value of negative 1 or values of x which is negative 1 is true to our given equation. Okay? So let's solve this one. Dito mas nahihirapan yung mga estudyante. Ano po? When the values of x is a fraction. Dito tayo mag-checking ha. Copy the original given. 3x squared plus 5x plus 2 is equals to 0. Substitute the negative 2/3. 3 negative 2/3 square plus 5 times negative 2/3 plus 2 is equals to 0. Again, exponent first. Negative 2/3 square. If it's multiplication, tandaan nyo ha, negative 2/3 times negative 2/3. Yung negative 2/3 square, express natin siya as negative 2/3 times itself, negative 2/3. If it's multiplication of a fraction, parallel lang siya. Meaning, numerator multiply by numerator, denominator multiply by denominator. Negative 2 times negative 2, positive 4. Positive 3 times positive 3, positive 9. So, therefore, it is 3 times 4 over 9. Okay? Now, dito naman tayo. 5 times negative 2/3. If we are multiplying a fraction by a whole number, the whole number must be multiplied only to the numerator. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 over, just copy the same denominator. So therefore, 5 times negative 2/3 is simply negative 10 over 3 plus 2 is equals to 0. Understood? Now, let's apply the same thing. Katulad dito, 3 times 4 over 9, whole number multiplied by the numerator. 3 times 4, 12 over 9 minus 10 over 3 plus 2 is equals to 0. Note, we are not allowed to subtract or multiply fractions with the similar denominator. What will you do? 12 over 9 minus 10 over 3. As you can see, we can lowest term 12 over 9. So, sometimes, most of the time, ang ginagawa ng mga student or ginagawa natin is finding the LCD and then get the equivalent fractions. In this case, you can simply lowest term this one. Anong lowest term ng 12 over 9? It is 4/3. Okay? 4/3 minus 10 over 3. So, in this case, they are already similar fractions. So, we can subtract or we can add na. Okay? In addition or subtraction of the similar fractions, ulitin ko. In addition of or subtraction of similar fractions, okay, just subtract or add the numerator and then copy the denominator. 4 minus 10 is negative 6 over, copy the denominator, 3. What is negative 6 divided by 3? It's simply negative 2. So therefore, 12 over 9 minus 10 over 3 is simply negative 2 plus 2 is equals to 0. What is negative 2 plus 2? 0 equals to 0. Is 0 equals to 0? Yes. So therefore, our values of x, which is negative 1 and negative 2/3, is true to our given equation. 3x squared plus 5x plus 2 is equals to 0. Understood? Our next given, 4 over x plus 5 is equals to x over x plus 3. So, ito yung pinaka-ayaw. Aminin nyo man hindi, pinaka-ayaw ng mga bata or pinaka-ayaw nyo because ang hirap naman yung fractions. So, I will teach you, are going to make it easier. Okay? So, if your given is in a fraction form, you need to cancel out the denominator. How are you going to cancel out the denominator? So, this are you going to do. 4 over x plus 5 is equals to x over x plus 3 multiplied. Going to multiply both sides by the same denominator. Okay, so our denominator x plus 5 and x plus 3. So multiply both sides by x plus 5 and x plus 3. So, okay, in this case, let's multiply. So x plus 5 times x plus 3 times 4 over x plus 5, we can simply cancel the x plus 5. And then just write yung natitira. Ano yung mga natitira? 4 times x plus 3 equals. Multiplication yung operation kasi in this one, multiplication din naman po yung operation. In this one, x over x plus 3 times x plus 5 times x plus 3. Again, you can simply cancel out the x plus 3. So, ang natira na lang is x times x plus 5. Okay? So, our new equation is 4 over x plus 3 equals x times x plus 5. Pero, hindi pa siya naka-write pa rin sa standard form. So, what will you do? Distribute each number. Ano po? So, 4 times x, 4x. 4 times 3, positive 12. Equals x times x, x squared. X times 5, positive 5x. Okay. So, now, let's change it or let's transpose using the APE to make it look like our standard form. Let's transpose so x squared on the other side. So, from positive x squared, it become negative x squared. The positive 5x will become negative 5x. The positive 4x just copies positive 4x because we didn't transpose it. Okay? Then positive 12 is equals to 0. Okay? And then, combine like terms. Ano yung pwede combine? The negative 5x and then the 4x. So, negative x squared. Negative 5 plus 4. Get the sign of the bigger number, which is negative. And then, subtract. 5 plus 4, 1. So, you do not need to copy. The 1, just write x. Ano pong rules yun? Addition of integers, unlike sign. Okay? Then, copy positive 12 is equals to 0. So, therefore, the new equation of 4 over x plus 5 equals x over x plus 3 is simply negative x squared minus x plus 12 is equals to 0. Sometimes, ito yung other form na ginagawa ko para hindi gasinong mahirapan. Ay, teacher, paano po ba mag-factor ng negative x squared? Parang ang hirap naman po. So, you can do this other way. Ang ginagawa ko, since yung x squared dito, pag transpose ko sa kabila, magiging negative. Ang ginagawa ko, dun ko na lang yung nandito na lang sa left side, yung nag-a-adjust para kay right side. Kasi it will have the same answer. So, from x squared, ang gagawin ko na lang, x squared plus 5x. Si negative 4x, ang ililipat ko sa other side, it will become negative 4x. And then, from positive 12, it become negative 12. Since wala nang natira on the other side, nandun si 0. So, combine like terms. 0 is equals to x squared plus 5 minus 4 is 1. So, positive x minus 12. So, meaning, alin na mas madaling i-factor? Siyempre, yung positive yung x squared. Understood? Teacher, same lang po ba na magiging sagot dito? Yes. Actually, ang technique ko before, nung high school ako, minumultiply ko. Pag nakita ko na negative yung x squared, I multiply all the terms by negative 1. So, negative 1 times negative x squared minus x plus 12 equals to 0. Of course, times negative 1 din yung other side to make it equal. Negative 1 times negative x squared, positive x squared. Negative 1 times negative x, positive x. Negative 1 times positive 12, negative 12 is equals to 0 times negative 1, 0. Are they the same? Yes. Still the same. Okay? So, since na-occupy na natin yung buong space, we're going to erase and then ititira na lang natin itong x squared plus x minus 12 is equals to 0. We're done. We changed the standard form. Let's factor. X squared plus x minus 12 is equals to 0. Since our a is not greater than 1, so balik tayo dun sa original natin ginagawa. Find the factor of c, which is negative 12. Factor of 12. And then the sum is the b. As you can see, the b is positive 1. So, since our c is negative, automatically, one factor is positive, one factor is negative. So, let's try negative 12 times 1 Negative 12 times 1 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. So this is not the factor we are looking for. Let's try. Positive 12 times negative 1. 12 times negative 1 is negative 12. 12 plus negative 1 is positive 11. Again, this is not the correct factor we are looking for. So let's try. Negative 3 times 4. Okay? Negative 3 times 4, negative 12. Negative 3 plus 4, positive 1. So therefore, the correct factor we are looking for is negative 3 times 4. So, konting trivia din, minsan kasi nalilito yung mga bata. Teacher, yan lang po ba yung factor ng negative 12? So, meron ba tayo, of course, 6 times 2, 2 times 6, ano po. So, the technique here is the more na mas marami kang alam sa factor ng isang number, mas madali kang makakapag-solve ng factoring or solving quadratic equations by factoring. Okay? So, let's get the negative 3 and 4. So, copy. Again, lagay lang tayo ng dalawang parentheses equals to 0. Since the variable used is x, get the sign also, x minus 3, and then x positive 4. We're done with factoring. Let's now equate each factor to 0. The first factor is x minus 3, equate it to 0. X plus 4, equate it to 0. So x minus 3, x is equals to, from negative, using the APE, it becomes positive 3. Okay? And then x plus 4, using the APE, x, from positive, it becomes negative 4. Therefore, our values of x is 3 and negative 4. Let's check if our values of x are correct. So in this case, kung nahihirapan ka to use the fraction form equation, you can simply use the standard form. Ano po? Yun na yung technique. Kasi same lang naman sila, magkaiba lang sila ng format. Okay? So let x is equals to 3. Copy the standard form. X squared plus x minus 12 is equals to 0. So 3 squared plus the values of x is 3 minus 12 is equals to 0. 3 squared is 9. Plus 3 minus 12 is equals to 0. 9 plus 3, 12 minus 12 is equals to 0. 12 minus 12 is 0. Equals to 0. Is 0 equals to 0? Check. So therefore, our value of x, 3, is correct. Let's try the negative 4. So let x is equals to negative 4. X squared plus x minus 12 is equals to 0. Again, use a parenthesis since our values of x is negative. Negative 4 squared plus negative 4. So, since positive times negative is negative, we can simply direct na negative 4 na siya. And then minus 12 is equals to 0. Negative 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 minus 12 is equals to 0. 16 minus 4, 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Is 0 equals to 0? Yes. So therefore, our values of x, which is 3 and negative 4, is true to our given equation. Okay? Hope you learned something today.